Welcome back to the Mana Mama podcast. Super excited to inform you guys of a brand new offering coming out of the Mana Humanities School in coming weeks. An online and self-paced, power-packed course called Heart-Led Living. Delivered by me, Mana Mama, Chrissie Charley and loaded with exercises, meditations, and with 30 plus videos. This course is literally the bomb when it comes to powerfully bringing the seat of direction of your life down from the mind and into its rightful HQ, the heart. Keep a lookout for its launch and make sure to get in before doors close. But today, episode 13 of the podcast, and today we're with visionary artist Vanni Mangoni, a dear friend and major inspiration to me. Born in Florence, Italy, Vanni Mangoni is a full-time visual artist, muralist, and filmmaker who refers to his work as mystical expressionism. After university scholarships and art direction in Hollywood, Vanni embarked on a decade-long backpacking journey which led him to many countries around the world, where he experienced the most influential encounters of his life on both a human and artistic level, absorbing the culture of First Nation peoples of North, Central, and South America, and of Australia. Today we're discussing the untapped and superior intelligence systems of the human race. Grab a cuppa, sit back and enjoy. So how are you this morning, Vanni Mangoni?
Very good. I woke up very early this morning. I went to do my blood checks before my travels. So I woke up early, first in line at the office. Very good, very good. Very inspired, very happy to be here. Thank you so much for hosting this. And it's a pleasure to see you and talk and share our hearts and views.
Yes. Oh, it's so beautiful to have you here. I was reflecting a little this morning. I was thinking, when did we meet? I think it must have been 2013. I think 2013 or maybe 14 in the Byron Shire when you were living there with your beloved sister, Susie Tesco. And I was at that point in relationship with Ryan Whitewolf, who said, we're going to a pizza night with my beautiful Italian friends in the hills. And I came along with my two small children who loved the pizza night. And that was it. I think was the beginning of our very unique journey, I would say, Vanni, where, you know, we haven't spent a lot of physical time together, but like I was saying earlier, the deep respect and admiration for each other, and that little high five, you know, that we give each other every so often, once a year, or say, hey, Muse, how you doing? Are you checking in with each other and each other's projects? And I'm thoroughly inspired by you. I want to tell everyone listening that, you know, Vanni is one of my favorite people on the planet for so many reasons. But I think that the main reason is because of your direct, what it seems to be a direct line to God, a direct line to spiritual inspiration, artistic inspiration. Your visions are full and thick, and you do not waste time with them. And you're like, that's what I love about people like you, that just, are not wasting a moment here on earth to bring through divinity, through whatever means it is. And, you know, for the listeners, if you haven't checked out Vanni's art, you must. And I know we're going to be sharing some of his work, you know, with this podcast. But as a visionary artist and now filmmaker and documentary maker, you are an incredible talent. And talent isn't even the word, you know, like talent just sounds like talent. Everyone's got talent. No, I don't know what it is you've got, Vanni. But the world needs it. I know that very much. And that's kind of been an inspiration for this conversation, which you lent in to me with. And I was also tracking with that. So when you suggested this, I was like, yes, no, absolutely, because I do feel like it is the voice of the visionaries that is going to help stabilize humanity at this time when we're seeing so much change. So thank you so much for being here and bringing your incredibly inspired and unique perspective to everything, really, but especially this topic that we're going to be exploring today. The topics we're going to be exploring today, which are hot topics, I do believe. But I'd love to ask you initially if you could share with us like the origins of your journey with art and with these visions that you have that are cosmic, are otherworldly. There's such big picture visions of humanity and beyond. And I actually don't even know myself. Like, when did they start coming in, into your spirit? When did you start painting in the way that you do?
So the style that I do now, it started. Well, actually, we can go back to the origin. Really, like I started drawing and painting since I could hold a pencil in my hand, really. And then my parents would take me, to like art museums and shows, and like I would always bring like an album, like a notebook with the pencils, and I would sit in front of a painting and draw it, So my family has always supported my, I don't know, artistic tendencies, no, let's say. And then I was very lucky in elementary school to have a teacher that it was actually like a Christian school, like a nun school, but the teacher that we had was of, like a Christian, but like she was following Steiner philosophy. And so I grew up, the years of elementary school, our teacher would allow us to really cultivate our personal passions, even as a kids. And so I remember sometimes, there was maybe the time to do math or something like that. And she would tell me, draw. If you want to draw, draw. And so I was very lucky because I felt extremely free to do it since I was a kid, and actually not just free, but motivated and by the adults that I had around me. So like art started then for me, which was an art, was expression, was playing really, which is kind of like how I relate to it now. It's hard to, like, it's true. I work a lot. I mean, I create all the time, but it's playing.
Yes.
It really feels like playing, like it's my element, So the visionary art started with the visions, really. Like I did encounter a form of visionary art also when I was like an adolescent through Escher. And then I saw images from Alex Gray when I was like a teenager. And I think subconsciously they impacted me, like that, their aesthetics and their way to create this imagery. But so for a period, actually around the college years, I was judging art, and like I didn't do it as much. So basically I did my art all the way through adolescence, and then right after adolescence, the mind started telling me that, what kind of a future am I hoping for to draw and paint, So I started dreaming to do movies, for example, because I always had a tendency towards art and storytelling, through visual image, visual arts. But I thought that art wasn't gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so I started doing, I went to school and I did, studied a little bit of filmmaking, a little bit of art, but then I started doing storyboards and conceptual work for other people. So I was doing, storyboards for commercials when I was in the United States, and commercials for music videos. And then I did some conceptual work and storyboards for movies. And then in 2012, I had, finally the balls and the opportunity to meet plant medicine and, indigenous ritual for the first time. I did not really knowing what would that mean for my future and for my endeavors. And so I started with peyote in a beautiful ceremony led by Kwatli in the Mexica tradition. And then I attended, then obviously that changed my world entirely, my worldview. Well, not changed, but it lucidified it in some way. Like
That's a good way
it
to
took
put it.
out some, things that were just like standing in the way for me to see. And then I met ayahuasca in 2013, and then I went to Peru because I met ayahuasca in a Santo Daime ceremony, very potent ceremony for me in California. And then I decided immediately to fly to Peru and go to the basis of this medicine, like where it developed, where it was born. And so I booked my travel to Peru, and I stayed there for a while with my older brother, with my brother Vito, with the Shipibo tribe, with the Shipibo tradition. And that's where the first visions happened, differently from, let's say, dreams, because they were, first of all, I could remember them. And then also because how meaningful everything was, And so there in 2013, after my first experiences with the Shipibos, I was like, well, I think I want to draw these, I want to draw what not only what I saw, but what it meant. Kind of like I want to honor the messages, the feelings that these experiences evoked. So I did my first one when I was in Peru, actually. So it's a piece of paper with the colored pencils that I had available there. And ever since then, it just like started this train of intuitions. It's almost like, plant medicine opened up not a portal. I think the portal is there. We are portals ourselves, but like it helped me clean, like all the things that would obstruct the channel, the portal to access this. Also, I gotta say the process of working with the medicine, especially the first time I went to Peru, was very much about the work to silence my mind.
Yes.
So, and honestly, that was the work for 2 weeks, constantly. Ceremony after ceremony was like a process of removing all the voices, all the entities. Sometimes in ayahuasca, energies is translated and is experienced as entities.
Yes.
And it was, so this process of removing these voices to then clear the channel and to be able to maintain and sustain a silent mind. And I find that was the most important work that I've done in order to clean the channel, in order to then receive and cultivate this relationship with vision, with vision and accessing, like, and I say visions, but it's really, these things that I paint, like, they don't come always as visions. Sometimes they're like full on intuitions. It's almost like a drop of knowledge comes, and then sometimes it's about, you know, finding the language, the visual language, to translate this concept so that I can then share it and open a discussion about it. And so this is really, so then that's how it started. It started with you know, it's a development, you know. I can say Escher also, you know, like is there, like now I see it clearly how, you know, being exposed to this imagery from these old masters has impacted me, you know. And so yeah, you know, ever since then, through the processes, and then obviously through the catalysis, the catalysis of plant medicine and what it did to me, then you know, it just gave me that pat on the shoulder to say, you know, you've got this skill, then put it to fruition, not just for you but for the world. And not to say that I do it for the world, although there is an aspect of that, but I do it really because I feel that's what I need to do. Simply, like yeah, you know, I have this skill, I have these beautiful uh new understandings and new stories to tell, and so the drive is really to tell a different story. Like, I think, you know, we go back to what you were saying at the beginning. I think it's time for a new story, like to tell new stories,
Yes.
and overcome these a little bit, not overcome, you know, it's not a fight, but to cultivate a path, kind of like we do with our minds, you know. They tell us, you know, think you know, in a certain way, to, in order to not to eliminate certain patterns, but to cultivate other narrow pathways, so that we can, you know, we can cultivate that. We I think it's time to join forces, you know, in order to create these new stories, these new pathways, so that, you know, we can also tell hopeful stories that are based on beauty, goodness, and truth. You know, and sometimes these truths are like, you know, very, they, you know, for, if you told me, you know, in adolescent, you know, when I was an adolescent, that, you know, this the paintings that I do are based on truth, on some levels of truth that are not visible but are experienceable, you know, maybe I would say these are fantasies, you know, but actually no. And this is the real, this is the good news.
Yes.
We have available within us, and then if you connect to that part within us, then you see it outside also, a miraculous well of beauty, inspiration, things to be hopeful about, strength, you know.
Yes. Yes, yes, and it's a triumph. It's the triumph
Yeah,
of the human race.
yeah.
That's what you're tapped into, you know, and
Mhm,
that's what I want for every human being. Do you know? Like
mhm,
I want that. And gosh, there's so much you just shared that we could veer off on, but what's ringing really loudly in my heart and mind is when you just said that when you went and spent those weeks with the Shipibo and did that deep work. And it sounds like you really applied yourself, Fanny, because to have made
mhm,
such deep progress in just 2 weeks of
mhm,
silencing mind, good on
mhm,
you. Do you know, a lot of people
mhm,
work hard and it can take years, you know, for maybe
mhm,
even longer. And there's no,
mhm,
you know, we're all completely different. But I just want to say good on you. You worked hard those 2 weeks, clearly. But then you said that enabled you to honor the messages.
mhm,
It's just like that. That's just the mic drop, you know, like to honor the messages that we feel, sense, know, see, have inside each one of us. I am always talking about, you know, that our imagination, do you know,
mhm,
which is, you know, one of the aspects of the nature of the human
mhm,
race, you
mhm,
know, and I take that from, you know, a mentor depth ecologist, Bill Plotkin, you know, who taught me really that, you know, the nature of humanity comes down to our emotions,
mhm,
our body, our connection to nature outside of
mhm,
itself, outside of ourselves, pardon me, but our imagination.
Uh-huh.
And this imagination that we have is no joke, and
Mhm.
it has totally been suppressed. Even the word imagination in a
Mhm.
lot of Western society has been bastardized, to mean something, daydream like, we're wasting our time. It's just, it's folly. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean anything. Imagination, your fantasy, you
Mhm.
use the word. But no, like, no way, and I know that these visions that you have, and the visions that every human being can feel or see, is the blueprint, are the blueprints of our future, of our potential
Totally.
bright future.
Mhm.
And so, like I said to you earlier, your voice and the voices of visionaries, it's like they need the mic right now, at a time when you said there's just so much going on out there that's leading humanity astray. And it's to honor the messages within. It's,
Mhm.
rather than be looking outside and going, oh, the world's going to shit, oh, AI is taking over, oh, they did, looking outside, rather than recognizing that no, actually, the most ideal guidance comes from within. It comes from the heart and from spirit. And we're walking a journey, humanity, back to trusting that, back
Mhm.
to honoring that. Like you said, these are no little things, these visions that we have, these messages that we receive, these drops of knowledge.
Mhm.
Like you said, I loved that, the drop of knowledge.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, like, let's talk about that, because, as you and I know, a lot of our beautiful human family doubt that.
Mhm.
They belittle it. They doubt that. We're in our minds. We're
Mhm.
very much in our minds, rather
Mhm.
than living life from heart and spirit. So, yeah, what would you say about that, Vanni?
Well, first of all, I would say to everybody that I feel them, meaning that, like, I'm also, myself sometimes, caught up. I catch myself, sometimes in kind of aspects of despair also, like maybe not so down, but like, it's not like I'm bypassing, the news or something. I keep an eye on what's happening,
Mm,
and like everything else that affects us, the bad news, what's going on around the world, I do see it. And then,
mm,
sometimes fear emerges also within me, and then despair also. But I think this is the work, this is the point, to definitely not pretend like things are not happening,
agree.
but then, find the center, our center, from which we can operate the wisest choices, decisions anyways, so it's like, so what you're saying is true, that like, if we fall too much into the listening to fear and despair, and all these things, and we live off of that, and we kind of react based
Mm,
on these things,
mm,
then that's a pathway. And and many people do, and I'm not judging that. It's just that I think what life has taught me is that the best decisions I've made, and actually the most effective decisions I've made from a place of neutrality, basically from of silence, maybe, from these things, and actually listening to myself, and then finding um, ways, what to do, from an inspired place rather than a reactive place to what's not happening.
mm,
And then, so, I think I don't doubt the divine embroidery of what's happening all around, meaning that I think, everything has its place, and its sacred place, even though I don't understand it, how, people can still decide to, I don't know, cultivate a war mentality or like violence, or but that's where we are, that's what it is. It's simply what it is, and and that's it. So if that's what it is, it's what it is. But within this, then I realized that every one of us is like a little part of this embroidery. So what I'm inspired to do is to tell a different story, try to cultivate like another part. And I think all artists are visionaries. I just myself, I consider myself more almost like an illustrator of mystical dimensions of spirit. And so what I do at the moment is illustrate this, to open up a discussion and go like, look, there is all these tools, all these technologies. And by technologies, I mean natural technologies and human technologies, like breath work, like meditation, like walking in nature, like silencing the mind. So all these things to help you see, like I help myself see, that there is an entire universe within us, like really like a cosmology at work, like that is it's magic. And I mean, like magic has many connotations, but miraculous, let's say, miraculous dimensions of our existence that can help you find solutions to impossible problems, and then open up to the miraculous aspect of life, that reality somehow it's also like a mirror of what's happening inside. And so miracles can happen outside if you just switch point of view. And actually not even point of view, because I think the mind is not really they say mentalism is the first law of the but I feel like it's the feeling, it's feeling. The real engine, is the heart, is the tempo, is time, really, our heart. And like how hearts and really emotion, so like also the guts, like is this part. And in fact, I mean, the work of silencing the mind has allowed me to go down, to go deeper, and then seeing when we connect to this part and this like part of ourselves, that's when reality starts to respond in a different way. And the immediate reality, like the reality in our immediate circles. But if that is the law, because I see it time and time again and time again, okay, I might have, maybe I'm stuck in a moment, like in a situation, and then I breathe. I just breathe in and like, okay, reconnect to this part. And then all of a sudden, the situation that seemed, like conflictual, then naturally it dissolves. And so all these things, these are things that I just wish to share, so that people can try for themselves. Don't take my word, don't take our words. Try, really try, dig deep, connect, and see for yourself that this is a miraculous existence. And so, I mean, we're talking about AI, how, AI is like algorithmic. How can it breathe in into the heart and feel, and then, it's like we are divine for real. Like, we are
Absolutely.
like, God, divinity made single, individual.
Yes, absolutely. Everything you just said, I concur with 100%. This is the work at Mana. This is everything we're doing at Mana, and even just our, flagship offering, the humanity training. it is all about reharnessing our technology within, the technology of the heart. And it is, like you said, it's no joke. Like, human beings are no joke. The technology of our makeup, of our body and of our energetic body is no joke. And there is no more superior technology on this planet. Like, no way. I think I said to you last week, like, for years, this whole AI thing, I just sat there going, like, it's circuitry. It's mere circuitry. It's bits put together that just feed off other bits of information. Like, it has nothing on us. It has nothing on even just the miraculous digestive system. Just the digestive system alone is miraculous. The way it's like, it's unbelievable. You can go so deep into cellular biology and have your mind blown consistently, and that's just one of our many systems that are operating simultaneously without us even thinking. And then you get into the energetic capability of a human being. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and love does rule. Love does win, and our power to change things in the 3D around us instantly does exist. And I think about our brothers and sisters out there who are wobbling, and it seems like an almighty increase of wobble really happened around the American elections in January. It was just like this wave of mass wobble. And, of course, with no judgment, people are, unfortunately quite stuck in their viewpoints that trap them and have them experiencing so much limitation. And I just look around and think, wow, to the degree that we are wobbled by the world, or even by our families, is to the degree we are looking outside of ourselves for whatever that may be, solution, peace, guidance, or all of these things. And really, like, coming back to, like you said, that part of our inner circuitry and honoring the messages that come uniquely to us. And the more that we can do that as individuals, but as a collective, the more and more stable we are going to become, whereby it doesn't matter what is going on in the 3D. We can remain, we can remain calm and sure and pointed toward this triumphant future that we're creating. Like, it comes from within. The stability must come from within. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. And also, like, I think in terms of future, well, first of all, art plays an incredible role, meaning that, like, whatever stories you tell, this is like what, I mean, I remember one time Roberto Saviano is an Italian writer, came to the university that I was studied at USC. And he was telling how art and filmmaking, for example, creates reality. I mean, think about I don't know, 2001 Space Odyssey, like, and they had already the tablets, like the iPad and stuff like that, and this is like what, the late 60s or something. And then The Godfather, for example, because he's Italian and he lived and he grew up in the context of mafia, like a mafia context, and he said that The Godfather, the movie, like, before The Godfather, the mafian people weren't really like dressing up like the way they were portrayed in the in these movies, and then they started doing that after the movies came out. So art and the stories we tell and the visions we share with the world do impact, like, do create reality. And so the future, well, definitely inspired by the stories, the language, the art, that is out there, the ideas, but and also the efforts and basically the joint efforts. So I think a part of it is definitely in order, to manifest the best future we feel that is possible, is breathe in and connect with ourselves, right? With the center. But then, and I think now even more important than ever before, is to find our tribe, to
Ari.
find the people that resonate with us, and and do it together, because it's not differently from AI and math. In human case, and the life, in the case of life, is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3.
Yes, yes.
Like it's not just the sum of the parts. Is the sum of the parts and plus
Yes,
spirit, plus more, plus whatever, is created together,
correct.
and so yes, I think the suggestions for myself, to remind myself, and also to the people out there that are easily or get caught up on in the stress of life, and and the troubles, of the everyday world. Is to connect with themselves, and then nurture community, and be nurtured in community, and find, my suggestion would be to find peaceful and good people around you, more than the successful ones, more than the smart one, but like good people that resound at a heart level,
Yep.
with you, and then co-create.
That's
So
right.
creativity and community, I think it's they're very crucial at this time.
Yes, I'm seeing that tapestry you talked about earlier.
Mm.
Do you know the weaving that we're all doing? Every single one of us is a part of something. It's not what's happening out there. We are all creating,
Mhm.
whatever it is, whether it's the fight or the adversity or the doubt or the hope and the beauty and
Mhm.
the truth. And there's no right or wrong option. It's, but we need to ideally be conscious of that every single one of us is creating that. And when you said that, and I saw the little stitches, like each human being, like a little stitch, it's like find the rest of your, find the others in the similar color,
Mhm.
find that part of the magic carpet that you're
Mhm.
meant to be woven into.
Mhm.
Because one little cream stitch in a sea of navy and greens and blues, that's not where you belong. Like, and I often talk about this, Vanni, the lone wolf. I'm going to do it myself, my organization, my offering. And I just it is so time for us to all confront ourselves more and more to where we wouldn't
Mhm.
give up everything that we think we're about to be part of something greater.
Mhm.
Like I check that within myself. I feel I have to keep checking that within myself. And over the last, I don't know what, 6-7 years, I've come up to, other organizations that I've thought, wow, these guys are doing a better job than I am at mana. Like that, this is more efficient. Okay, I'm ready to give everything I'm up and join them. Like to make, to bring that beautiful vision we have into fruition more efficiently. I do think it's about us, like you said, joining up, even if that's just a very small sewing group, on the weekend. It doesn't matter. It's not about the 3D, what we're doing. It's the coming together.
Mhm.
And there are so many lone wolves out there. I know so many people who have such great talent and huge vision for humanity, but are still very much lone wolves
Mm-hmm.
and are still very much hiding in their little homes, and they're hiding, and and again, it's no judgment, but it's like, wow, like the power of us all together, like you said, 1+1 = 3, the entity of the collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, is greater than the human beings involved. It's not about who the people, it's about the energy that we're growing together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that this whole AI situation that we're both interested in, and you've done quite a lot of researching into, from your heart, and I'd love to hear more about that. But it's I do see, that it's putting people into fear, and fear is the ultimate. It's just such an efficient power that just knocks people into a spin, into lone wolf, and makes them feel hopeless, and we can't do this. It's kind of like the opposite of collaboration and being with. Fear just, I know for myself, whenever I go into fear, I feel it equates to like a loneliness. It has people feel alone, and
It's a contraction. It contracts rather
contraction.
than release or
That's
expand.
right. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. And when I see this whole AI thing playing out, because again, it's very interesting. It's just in the last handful of weeks, I see this really big influx of storytelling. Like you said, that storytelling creates reality. And there's all these funny stories that I'm seeing on Instagram about AI and how powerful it is, and it's got a mind of its own. I'm just like, what are these stories, and
Mm-hmm.
who is buying them, and what are the effects? That most importantly, what are the effects on our brothers and sisters when they tap in and buy that, and buy that AI is more sophisticated and more intelligent than the human
Mm-hmm.
race? I know you're passionate about this. Tell us, tell us what you've been
Yeah.
noticing.
Well, I wanna touch 1 second about the lone wolf. I think,
Mhm.
in a way, there are also lone wolves, and they
Mm,
have, all the rights to be lone wolves. It's almost like,
absolutely.
if you look in nature, we wouldn't criticize a real wolf for being alone, right? Or
No.
like, so there are those. The I think the consideration is that there is other people, a lot of people that probably wouldn't be lone wolves, but would be
Fabulous.
social creatures, but they are confined in solitude because maybe of fear, or because of, you know,
Yes.
the kind of, I don't know, the combination of factors that kind of make them believe that they're safer isolated. Because
Yes.
in the
Yes.
end, that's the
Yes.
point. It's not true, but like most of the times, but it's a belief, right?
Yes.
And so also on AI, yes, I've been passionate recently because also it has taken over a little bit, also not taken over, but has been very prominent in the art discussion, in the world of art. I mean,
Yes.
last year I remember there were like the issues of image generation, taking like as training references, artworks by people that never agreed to it, like all this kind of thing. So AI in a way has been present in there, but now with the whole discussion about AI being conscious, and seeing how the world is, or many people are responding to that, and like how the narrative tells us that they are, it's more intelligent than us, or that maybe there would be more robots than humans. It's like, why? But it's so I want to say that I do believe it's an amazing technology, right? I think it is going to be, like very helpful for many things. Now, with this said, when the narrative goes into consciousness and the intelligence of AI being, how do you say, not paragon, how do you say paragone? Put on the same level, let's say, to human consciousness and human, intelligence, I think it's worth to really dig deep within each and every one of us to understand what our intelligence is, and our intelligence is not only algorithmic, meaning, okay, our intelligence, and let alone consciousness, but like even our intelligence, our capacity to make decisions, for example, is not just algorithmic. And sometimes, I do see people that operate in this way a lot, meaning like, okay, I do this because this, and that, and this data. But like, there is another factor, which is, I think, we become more exposed to this through spirituality and spiritual practice. There is other aspects of our intelligence and our decision-making processes that have to do not only with data and memories or, understanding in that sense, but about, like what the philosophers called qualia, like the qualities of emotions, like we base our decisions not only on data but on feeling, intuition, things that, and then that's where we tap into consciousness, into parts of our existence that will inevitably elude AI, which comes about through the sum of its parts. Like it's, as you said, it's circuitry. It does what it's programmed to do. And like the life and intelligence of AI is programmed by an external factor. Right now it's humans. We'll see in the future if it's gonna be machines, but it's humans now, right? That program and give life to AI. Our life comes from within. Like our life comes from within. There is not like a creation process. It's like a cell that like somehow it's conscious and creates another one and creates another one. So at the base, it's a different process. Like it's an intelligence that and a consciousness and a spirit and a life force that is at the basis of creation. Like then the manifestation in form, and then all the circuitry comes later. Like the programs come in a way, come later. It's like life, and what's so valuable and what's so sacred and so relevant and so divine is that the single cell has the blueprint of everything that we are when trillions of cells are together. And so it's like, how can you sustain the argument? How can you put us on the same level? Like, okay, humans with all our capacities and complexities, but even plants. I mean, if you do plant medicine, like you realize, and the mycelium. I mean, all, but even mountains, even minerals. There is an argument. There is an argument that technology and AI is like the development of silica, of like I don't know, like a mineral intelligence. I don't know. It's just it's the process of it coming to being also that it's not. It cannot be. How do you say paragonare in English? Like parallel, yeah. How can you parallel this life intelligence? It's full of life from the beginning, from the inside out, not from the outside in. And so, yes, I would, I think I'm gonna do a painting about this, but like it's about keeping in mind, valuing ourselves, like who we are. What we are is a symbol. What we are is a body, beautiful, complex, but like truly inside there is something deeper, broader, eternal for some of us, that like have reasons to believe and trust that,
Yes.
obviously all of us, but I'm saying, certain experiences have allowed, have facilitated a deeper understanding and acceptance that we are eternal in that sense. I mean, even on a cellular level, we're made from, atoms and things that have been here from the beginning. So, but yeah, just to remember who we are, so that we can, when we are exposed to stories about intelligence and yeah, and we are parallel to, just to, like value that part of ourselves that is like, it's beyond. It's
Yes.
beyond.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I so deeply want everyone to value that in themselves. That's like
Mhm,
my mission,
mhm,
actually. And, and I feel like I only probably have scratched the very surface, of the value of myself, even. There's just so much incredible depth to the human race and our technology.
mhm,
And, when you were talking, what comes to mind is the technology of inspiration, the
mhm,
technology of intuition,
mhm,
that machines will never have. The
mhm,
technology of our astral abilities.
mhm,
The technology like this, it goes on and on. The
mhm,
technology of our vulnerability. This is something that we're exploring deeply in the Munai course at
mhm,
Mana, is reframing and understanding truly what our vulnerability does to the
mhm,
field. And it's again, it's like imagination. The word and concept of imagination's been so suppressed, so squashed, so bastardized, so we don't understand our power. It's the same with vulnerability. Like,
mhm,
the power of a human being's vulnerability and what it opens and changes in the field and in human hearts, thousands of hearts within seconds.
mhm,
It's we have unlimited technology
mhm,
inside of us, but we haven't thought of it like that.
mhm,
We don't think of it like that. And when I even say the technology of the human body or the human being, it can rattle people. It's like, no, no, our technology
mhm.
is the most sophisticated, potentially in the universe.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Potentially in the universe. Like, truly, like,
Uh-huh.
for those of the listeners who are cosmically minded, or who, map or track, what's going on further afield of our galaxy. And, there's a lot of eyes on planet Earth.
Mhm,
There's a lot of interest galactically on planet Earth, and that's for very, very good reason. And it's got a lot to do with the DNA that is here on our planet. And I would probably say ours is the most sophisticated, is it not? Of everything on planet Earth. Like, we are belittling ourselves to this wave of tech AI that's coming through, and it's putting people in this flap. And it's like, guys, know thyself.
mhm.
Know thyself. For
Yeah.
goodness sake, on behalf
Yeah.
of your future generations,
Mhm,
get a grip. We are so powerful. We just need to place those 2 feet in the soil. Like,
mhm,
truly, boom, know ourselves, resource from inside, you
mhm,
know, refamiliarize ourselves with these powers.
mhm,
Like you said, honor
mhm,
the messages once again, like the ancients, and we're away.
mhm,
I honestly think this golden age of humanity is literally around the corner. It is so close. I can taste and touch and feel it. It is so close.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to take a lot, you know, it
Mm-hmm.
really isn't.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, it's funny because, you know, vulnerability, it goes back to like what we were saying before, is the peeling off.
Yeah.
It's peeling off like all the conditioning. That's
Yes.
vulnerability, is nakedness. Is the naked spirit, is the authentic, genuine spirit that expresses. You know, so we cry, we laugh, but definitely, you know, like the power of a felt laugh has a different kind of ripples than like I don't know, a circumstantial laugh or something, you know.
Yes.
And you know, and so um it's yeah, it's and then, you know, like inspiration, like the process, this process of peeling off layers, connecting to our, you know, authenticity, connecting to our truth of who we are. And it's not like a mental process. It's, you know, it's not like an intellectual capacity to say, I'm this and that and this and that. No, no, no. Like, I think, you know, vulnerability is when the mind perhaps is not involved at all, and if it's involved is in the recognition that I am, period.
Yeah.
And so whatever is expressed then that comes from that basis is the vulnerable, genuine expression of who you are. And then you realize that that's actually the simplest thing. It's actually more complicated to live up to our voices and like our patterns and presumptions and expectations and fears and mental strategies. All of that is just like a complication, like it complicates our existence and our life. And in the moment that you take those off, and so you come to vulnerability, you come to your truth, and then life becomes actually very easy. Like it becomes
Yeah.
easy because, you know, things, you don't have to think about what to say, you just say them.
That's
You
right.
just say what comes true. And so I think it's in a similar process, you know, like the golden age or the future that we dream. And we dream it because, first of all, you know, we can imagine it. We can, you know, if we can imagine it, oftentimes we can manifest, like it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's easy because it could be easy, meaning like, you know, to manifest at the moment that we are honest with ourselves and with each other, you know. In the end, if we were all honest with each other, we would very easily realize that we all want the same thing. And if we want the same thing, desire the same thing, which is like freedom of expression and, you know, feel loved, feel that we belong, you know, we
Yes.
belong wherever we are, and we do, because that's the truth. We're here, of course. If we're here, we belong. You know, it's not like nobody, you don't have to prove, you don't have to demonstrate. You know, if you are here, you belong. You made it. The little, you know, like you sperm ovule, you know, like in the miracles of all the possibilities, you are here, we belong. And then express and co-create. And I mean, obviously we are in a situation where there is so much confusion and influenced by, you know, self-oriented mentalities, and by self-oriented I don't mean the real self, but the me. Like, okay, if I thought in terms of Vanni and what Vanni would gain and what Vanni would say, those are the voices. Those are all the the constructions, the constructs, you know. So removing that is I think is like a sacred work to then, you know, live life like more easily, more at peace,
Yes.
more free. Once you know yourself, you're actually more, you're more able to, kind of see through the filters, sometimes the people put on themselves. It's almost like then if we operate from an authentic and truthful place within us, it's easy to connect to the truthful and genuine place in the mirror, in the person in front of you, even though sometimes they have masks, and that's why it has happened to me before, when I had all those layers on top of me, and I would see, I don't know, a person that was way more free and worked on themselves a lot more, that would benefit me also, like in my own mask and my own constructions, to see someone genuine, it's almost like the greater power. And so either you're forced to like meet at the same level, or you escape, something.
Yeah.
In front of us, we have I don't know how do you say, like when a road goes into
Crossroads?
a crossroad. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a crossroad ahead of, not even ahead of us. I think we are actually, the decision is now. This is the
Yep.
feeling.
Yep.
Like it's not, it's different from 10 years ago or 15. I think this is the crossroad.
Yep.
We're going in a way or the other,
Mm.
And I'm hopeful because, in the end, we're like in a good place, meaning that yes, there is like crazy things that are happening, but I feel like it's just the manifestation of the energetic momentum that we're going through as humanity and as a planet. And so things are happening very fast, very intensely, in all directions, not
Correct.
just the bad ones. So obviously, if you operate from a mental place and a fear-based place, obviously the reality is going to mirror all the things that you're afraid of, that can, that nurture what your consciousness, consciously or unconsciously, is paying attention to. And
Indeed.
so, the more you nurture your fears and your, these things, the more you'll have reasons to fear and to, and then most likely you're going to take the path that is reactive to these fears and all these things. Or the other one, the reality is that right now we have a lot more freedom than before. We can communicate with each other through technology also. Look at us now. I mean, amazing, and then we are in a much better off place than, I don't know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, so there is reasons to also see how we are in a good moment, also how things have shifted in a positive direction. So basically, I think the calling and the suggestion, is to know yourself, know what you're passionate about, do it from a neutral, calm, accepting, but also inspired, connecting to the heart and to, to love place, and then operate from that, and again, differently from the other one, is not so mental, is not algorithmic, it's intuition based, as you said.
Yes.
Like you are kind of guided by reality itself into knowing what the next steps are. Actually, when I was in Australia in 2014, Brian Grant, my dear friend, Susie and I were living at his place, told me, gave me a suggestion or said something that has really touched my heart ever since, and in a way changed my life a lot. Where he said, we had to build a fire, a pizza fire oven, a wood fire,
I remember.
pizza oven. And I'd never done that, and neither did Susie, So I was like, how do I do it? How do I approach it? How am I going to do it? I've never done it before, And he said, make the first step, do the first step, and then the following step will be obvious.
Ari.
I mean, it's so true to life,
Yes.
like sometimes we get overwhelmed And I think the part of like the chaos that we're going through internally also now is because we overload ourselves and we overwhelm ourselves with the things that need to be done, right? For the ideal solution or the achievement of something. And we look at the destination, and we get overwhelmed because sometimes there's like so many things that needs to be done and need to align, and it's like, and right now they're not, or seemingly they're not, and so we're like, I'm never gonna do it. And so that's sometimes where we quit or where we doubt ourselves and we get stuck in that loop. But the reality is like, honestly, it's like me when I paint. Sometimes, yes, I have a vision, and sometimes it's like very complex, and I'm like, okay, yes, I have a vision. Let's say I have a complete composition in mind, more or less. But if I start thinking about all the little brush strokes and all the little magic
Yeah.
to happen in order to do that my visions and my paintings are very detailed. I could get overwhelmed. Instead, the
Yeah.
point is to just start with something. Like I start with the color. I start with like maybe like one color throughout the canvas. Very easily. And then the next step becomes obvious, and then the next step becomes obvious, and then the next step becomes obvious. Et voila, after a month, the vision is complete. So it's kind of also, that also is a beautiful suggestion, and I will thank Brian for that forever, because it's true. It takes off the pressure away a little bit, the fear out of the mind, overwhelming sensation out of the body, and focus on this first step or the second step or whatever it is, but step by step.
Yes.
And I feel like this is what also we do, right? I mean, it's not even in the if we believe in the golden age, like in the manifestation of a beautiful future, it's not about, it's about step by step cultivating that vision inside, and step by step cultivating that vision outside, and
Yes.
ultimately sing a song and like paint a vision that everybody enjoys. And that's why it's easy also. But, all that we dream is a place where everybody's valued, everybody can contribute in their uniqueness, and we can get along and respect each other. There is I think there is space for that.
Absolutely. And you just nailed it when you talked about, the like the pizza oven analogy, which basically beautifully demonstrates, two of the 10 keys of our humanity training, which are
Mm,
decision and
mm,
willingness and the
mm,
metaphysical power
mhm,
of those things, where most people get stuck in the hows. Oh, how? Okay, I won't do it, rather than, just using decision and a decision metaphysically. When we it's somatic. Firstly, it's nothing to do with the mind. It's a right, I'm doing this, and
mm,
it's a full body experience. And then magically the path appears. The path actually only appears
mhm,
when we are decided, because it's that decision that informs the field around us, where we're going and
mhm,
what we're creating. She's creating a pizza oven. Okay. Well, she's going to need this piece of inspiration. She's going to need that phone number for the, and it just appears.
mhm,
And this is, again, one of our major technologies of
mhm,
creation. We are the most powerful creators, but people have forgotten that. They've really forgotten that. But again, like we can create anything. We can create anything that we have in our visions, in our imagination. And yeah, I do want to concur about what you said about coming in with others. Just like, again, just coming in with others. That, you talked about the choice point. We are very much at a crossroads right now, and we have to be intelligent, mature, and recognize that every thought and every fear and everything that we are imagining, whether that's negative or positive for our future, is affecting the field. And it's kind of like, what the Native American Indians would say, the white wolf and the black wolf. We all have a black wolf and a white wolf inside of us. Now, honestly, like, which one are you feeding? And for anyone listening, if you know that you want to be a part of the solution and creating this beautiful future, and you're all about the white wolf, but you're finding that the black wolf is very noisy, lean in to communities that are all about the white wolf. Be supported. Like, it is about coming together into that magnetism that you're explaining, like seeing the person who's freer, and we align, seeing the community that really have it, they really believe it, they're moving toward it, move in. Because the power is in numbers. The power, we're meant to be doing things together. Like we are pack creatures. There may be lone wolves out there, but wolves themselves by nature are pack creatures. And we all know that the fastest way to get anywhere is together. Doing it alone, you got so many difficulties that the tribe can help through. So just another, it's like this AI thing, and this crossroads that we're at is another beautiful opportunity to come in closer with people, humans rock. Humans are magnificent.
Yeah.
We're magnificent, aren't we, Vanni? It's really like, it just brings a tear to my eye just thinking about how intelligent a human being it really is. It's just and then also how tragic it is for me that people have forgotten that people just think they're 3D 9 to 5 cogs in a machine. It's like, wow. That's,
this makes me think of something that I think you tapped into podcasts and other stuff, like the getting out of the victimhood mentality. I think part of it is also that, and nobody denies that there are tragic and very difficult circumstances, but in a way everybody can relate to difficult circumstances. I mean, I was an homosexual athlete, for example, and I didn't, I was scared. I thought that the world out there was very resistant and judgmental and all of that. And this was my mental pattern, perhaps there was a level of truth to that, meaning that, okay, in the locker rooms, gay was a derogative term meant to offend and denigrate, I don't know, other athletes, or like as a joke to diminish something, So I grew up, and just to tell you one of the, of my challenges in the past. And so in a way, I was hiding. For example, I was closeted during those years. And in a way, I could see myself as a victim, right? As a victim of, one view was of the system. I'm a victim of the system because homosexuality and the homosexuals, or whatever, this category is like a minority and denigrated and like not acknowledged and fought against and all of that, And again, there is a level of truth to that. So a victim of the system, the view. The subsequent realization was that I was a victim to my own mentality. So I was a victim of my own fear, right? Yes. And because, obviously there were people out there in the open, that like I respected a lot, but also, I was fearful about, maybe the judgments of others, towards that. And I was very, very scared. So a victim of my own fear. Then again, thanks to plant medicine also, but basically the inner work is really, like plant medicine sometimes is like a rocket ship to certain self-realizations that you can obtain even if you just look at yourself, with intention, regardless of plant medicine. I basically, that was the thing, right? So the victimhood, the seeing the evil and the obstacle outside and fearing that, so the circumstance, and then coming into myself, realizing the value of being myself, and regardless. So the fear was basically the one that, not so much about the world, but about my beloved, like my first circle, my family, the judgment, the something like that was really what scared me, and so I chose differently. Again, decision, choice is like, I chose different. It's like, okay, no, more value to who I am, right? And like what I feel. And then, the moment of coming out was was miraculously smooth and beautiful, and everybody was like embracing me even more than before. It was kind of me, like, so this is, taps into different aspects, that,
Yes,
like,
yes,
of the human situation. We are like, we are stuck into the victimhood mentality that we see, like a
yes.
part of the world against us, or as the oppressor. The work is also to realize what of you oppresses and oppresses yourself also, like what are the mechanics that like that you need to peel off in order to like get rid of that sense, because it's a sense, and cultivate like the solution of coming out, the solution of, I don't know, creating a better, I don't know, community, getting out of a toxic relationship, I don't know, many things that we can do, and then seeing how the world reacts, especially in the moment. The suggestion is to do it from a place of love, acceptance, and peace, and then see how the world reacts to that, and it's miraculous too. So
That's
I
right.
think it's like I think if I see it in my life as a law, like it works this way. It really
Yes,
does work this
yes,
way all the
yes,
time. Like,
yes.
okay, the work is within, is not so much trying to fix the outside, work against the enemy, is to find the enemy within, calm that down, move it aside, nurture the ally, so the white wolf in a sense, and then see how the immediate reality response. And if this is a law, if this is really a law, and I say if for the people that doubt that, just to
Yeah.
put this as a test, or like an example for people to experiment with themselves. But and because I do believe it's a law, like what's happening inside is mirror outside, so the
Yeah.
work is inner. I think on a global scale is the same. So the grand situations are a reflection of like the macro movements that happen inside humanity all around. So like I think it's sacred, the work of the individual.
Yes.
Obviously, all this, the collective is made of billions of drops, but like I think it's a time for each drop to like look inward and understand what they need to do to free themselves from the BS and from the like all the mentalities, even in the most absurd circumstances, like I see them, I'm not denying them, but I'm saying there is a necessary conflict, unnecessary barriers that the mentality put inside the mind of people that complicate their lives,
Yes.
like obstruct the vision to a easier solution. These things are important, I think, at this time, to do the inner work, to see clearly basically what to do,
That's right.
who to be,
That's right.
how to be.
Absolutely. So, if we contemplate the magnificent power of creation and of the technology of a human being, we are powerfully creating when we are in doubt, and we are powerfully creating when we are in victimhood. A victimhood meaning we're blaming government, we're blaming Trump, we're blaming colonialism, we're blaming, like, these are the things that people do not like to look at. Do you know? Oh, but I have every right to blame that. Sure, of course you do. But let's have a look at the effects of what it is doing to you, because there's one thing to place judgment on something that has been destructive or is destructive. Okay, that's destructive. But then to stay in a vibration of blame, you know, that's the part where people stay blaming and victim to something for weeks, months, years of their lives. This is very powerful also. And
Yeah.
it takes them and others around them in a downward spiral. And this is what, you know, like I feel you're encouraging, like every single one of us, me included, every single one of us needs to keep cleaning these things out. Do you know, because we are creating the world around us. Yes or yes.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful and humbling to do that work. It's beautiful and humbling. And you know, if we care for our future generations and our children and their grandchildren, like this is what we're here to do. We're actually here to do this.
Yeah.
That's
And
all we're
actually,
here to do.
if I can add something, if you want, like one of the blessings and messages of the medicine around this topic, it's revolves around preoccupation and care. And the difference, you know, sometimes we associate them, but they come from a different place, and the effects are different. Meaning that, like, when we feel preoccupied, like worried, concerned deeply, you know, we kind of nurture what we are worrying about.
Ari, of course.
Like, you know, it's our attention based on fear about what's happening, you know, and like it kind of energetically influences it and nurtures, pours out more to be worried,
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
and like and concerned about. So it's like I understand concern, as you said, like, yes, definitely there is like amazing situation, but if you worry, if that's like your energetic input comes from that place, even though you do it with the best intention, like, I urge people to take a look and, you know, and to discover this, that actually pours into the field more, all the more reasons for things to develop that like you're already worried about, and you nurture worry and to be worried about. It's almost like asking the universe, you know, I'm worried, and then, you know, like the universe responds, okay, worry.
Yeah,
Like
you're
things to
worried.
be worried, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes.
And care,
Yeah.
which is different. It's coming from, again, care, like a place of neutrality and love and hope, perhaps, you know. And like, you know, I
Yes.
won't tell you the episode, but I feel like we can all relate to that if we pay attention to, like, the moment we like really drop the worry and just like really relax into the situation. That's a different kind of input, you know. And then
100%.
and then nurture the white wolf.
100%. There is definitely a very important place for sacred no's right now on our planet. Like, yes or yes. It's not about letting all this shit occur, but it's with what energy do we say no? You know, and this is something, these are all the fascinating dynamics that we look at in our body of work and the 4Y course, because it's got everything to do with control. Worry is control. It's controlling a situation. It's feeding negativity into something. And it's one thing to say no to fracking, for example. No. But if it's from no, because I'm fearing you're feeding the
Totally.
black wolf.
Totally.
Other, you know, the option is to say no because we're going over there to that bright future.
Mhm.
And you're holding the positivity of where we're going, but you're saying
Mhm.
a firm no. It's got
Mhm.
everything to do with
Mhm.
our energy. It's not that we don't say no, but it's
Totally.
not from a place of victimhood and blame, and
Totally.
all of that's completely controlled.
Mhm.
And yeah, nobody's free in those situations. So this
Mhm.
is, God, we could talk all day, Vanni, you and
I
I.
know.
Oh, darling, what time is it? Okay, yes. Is there anything? What an amazing conversation. And yeah, we could actually talk all day, love.
Maybe we stop the podcast and continue.
Yeah, that's right. We'll do another one. So thank you so much for this incredible conversation. Is there anything upcoming that you would like to tell people about, point them toward? We'll definitely publish the link to your film. Would you like to speak about that very briefly?
Yeah, I mean, the film is a project I did with Luis Robledo and Sasha Robledo in 2019. It talks about the Shipibo tradition,
Mm.
so the curandero tradition, so plant diets, the ayahuasca experience, the history of this sacred remedy and ally, and taps into the song, the Icaros, the chemistry of it. It's a very informative. Be prepared to be exposed to a lot of information. Yes, and it's titled "The Song That Calls You Home."
Mm.
Um, yeah, in terms of future project and things, is like stay tuned. Like I'm not very good. I'm getting better. Different narrative.
Thank you.
I'm improving my presence on social media and keeping my community updated with what I'm doing. There is a
Mm.
book that I wrote. Another movie that I would like to put in production soon, and then paintings coming, and then I'm painting live at festivals. I started last
Mm.
year with a few
Mm.
here in Italy.
Mm.
This year I'm going to Europe also. So
Mm.
yeah, new exciting things are happening. And
Mm.
in terms of leaving something that maybe
Mm.
I didn't say, and I music 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 is a great ally in this time. Like, pay attention to what music you're listening to, what frequencies you're exposing yourself to, and play music and sing. This is something that has helped me immensely this past few months, that I realized that like we're doing every week like a um, music circle and jam session with friends, with the intention to connect with community for bonding, to bond and to express. And what a wonderful way to express than songs, rather than an argument in our minds and visions. We play music. So amazing, it's so beautiful. So this is something that I'm experiencing lately that has really made a huge effect, impact in my life. And I highly recommend, find your tribe and play music together. And when you listen to music, pay attention to the music you listen to. May be
Yes.
beautiful and inspiring, and nurture that field of yours that like wants to resonate and shine in positivity.
Oh, thank you for that. And in you sharing that, it reminds me of that beautiful night in Byronshire many, many, many years ago, where you and Elijah
Uh-huh.
teamed up. Elijah Ray of the Band of Light and his sound light, and you on stage painting in real life. It was, we were talking two planetary geniuses actually on one stage together and in such an intimate setting. Oh, never forget that night with Erica and Subi and Veronica.
Yeah.
Those moments of inspiration carry us so far as individuals and a collective. Vanni Mangoni, thank you so much for being here today. Blessings on your future creations. We would all love to see that painting that you mentioned you are intrigued to do with the
Mhm.
AI versus humanity technology, whatever that is that you're seeing. I want to see it. I can imagine it's going to be incredible and really help us. So thank you once again for being here, and we wish you very well.
Thank you, Chrissie. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you. To be invited. Very, very honored. Let's do this again.
Let's. Bye for now.
Querida.
Ciao. Ciao. Muse.
Muse. Next chapter about the muse.